Hi, my name is Adrianna Griffith. I am 33 years old and I live in Stockton, California, which sits on the native lands of the Miwok and Yokits people of the Central Valley. I'm no stranger to the criminal justice system. I was only around 2 or 3 the first time I saw my oldest brother being placed in handcuffs and thrown in the back of a police car. Throughout my childhood, I would frequently visit my brother in a visiting room surrounded by corrections officers, and that was normal for me. As an adult, after experiencing my own traumas and setbacks, I entered into a relationship that within a matter of a few months began to become violent and extremely toxic. The relationship was very manipulative at times. When we fought, it almost always became physical. I remember one time when he shot me in the leg with a BB gun so that I couldn't go out to the club with our friend group. Another time, I chased him onto public transportation for cheating on me with someone else. During the same time, our drug and alcohol use increased, and in order to supply our habit, I started to engage in prostitution. He made me feel safe enough to do that. Other girls came and went, but he would always tell me that I was number one, and I believed him. When he would hit me, he would start to cry in a way and beg me not to leave. He would say how much of a bad boyfriend he was, how sorry he was, and how he'd never hurt me again. But the cycle of violence never stopped. And I was ultimately arrested with him in 2010 for pimping and assault charges after only being together 7 months. And despite his promises to tell the truth and get me out, I was in the county jail for 2 years fighting. And I was ultimately sentenced to 5 years in state prison. Unfortunately, because of the trauma bond that was created between us, I still loved him throughout that time and still deal with the ramifications of that relationship to this day. When I think back on my experiences, one thing that was particularly helpful for me was my attorney and the way that she fought for me. She never once tried to change how I felt about my boyfriend the same as others did. She advocated for me, she laughed with me, she saw me as a person, not just her defendant client. And that is the most helpful thing anyone can do for someone caught in the criminal justice system. I support AB 124 because people who have been hurt, abused, and often neglected in the worst ways are the ones who end up in prison. We can't ignore the humanity in people. Do we hold folks accountable? Yes. But we have to do that in a way that acknowledges their humanity and the trauma that a person may have endured. What I would like policymakers to understand about domestic violence and the criminal justice system is this. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. To help survivors like me heal from being abused, we must have a system that is able to hold someone like myself accountable in a way that doesn't further traumatize or re-victimize anyone. They must acknowledge that this system does far more damage to survivors than folks care to admit. To take someone from one situation of abuse where they have no power, no say, to put them into another environment where they continue to have no power and no say is counterproductive to helping survivors heal. Policymakers have to do better. We all must do better.